We're live.
Okay. Yeah, yours always comes up way quicker than mine.
Uh,
Okay, well, good. David, pardon me, David Kirsten and Corey Knott, hosts of Quantum Leap. We are back live here on the second segment of Quantum Leap, and we're excited to have a guest with us. Um, but first, I just want to have Corey introduce himself, our normal introduction. If you don't mind, Corey also telling us, have you met Claudia, our guest, before? Is this the first time you've seen her?
hey, Cory Knott here, and I am a business coach with Take Wing Coaching. And I'm not sure how much Claudia and I have met. I think somewhere along the way I was, involved with Ascentive and BNI and Mike and Don, and so I meet a lot of different people. And I'm not sure if we've ever actually met in person. Probably at a conference. I think you can.
But you knew about her book, so you kind of knew of her and her
Yeah, well,
work.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. She comes up on my LinkedIn feed and like, hey, there's a book. So, right.
Great. And um yeah, Claudia, we talked some about some of your other activities, and Corey, we wanted to make sure we asked you about your book. But first, you're coming to us from, is it upstate New York, or are you actually in New York City?
Yep, I'm in upstate New York, very close to the border of Connecticut. So I'm in the countryside.
Okay, beautiful. And you're also a fellow BNI person. And if you don't mind just telling us your story, and we want to hear about your two books too, and what's in there. And we were just talking about thought leadership. And so I actually didn't know about your books until Corey mentioned it. So thanks for coming on. We look forward to talking to you more. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I'm so excited to be here tonight to chat to you guys and tell you what I do. In my life, in my past, I've owned a number of businesses. Some were startups, some were franchises. I've owned franchises of BNI in South Africa and been involved with Ascentive, like Corey said. So I've worked for corporates and for bosses and small businesses. So I really have quite a broad experience when it comes to different kind of positions. And my most recent business sale generated a substantial profit before I left myself and my little family. I have a husband and a toddler. We relocated to New York in 2020. And when we got there, we settled, and I started helping my sister out in her business. But what I saw was a huge need in my local community, because all around me, all the small business owners were struggling to hire. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. It was COVID, middle of COVID. So people were struggling to hire, which was affecting all the businesses around them. My sister has a general contracting business. She couldn't get her estimates out because her subs couldn't get their estimates to her. So everybody was bottlenecking, and so I saw an opportunity to help small business owners in my community with admin. And I just started part-time, really temporarily hiring my hours out. If you need an estimate typed up, you can book me by the hour, and I'll help you out. And it just grew and grew. Someone referred me to someone, and then I just started getting referrals across the states, and then across the country, and then globally through BNI, and then my business became full-time. So every task is my business. I'm a virtual administration company. And yeah, that's what I do now. Me and my team work to help small business owners really just cope with the workload. And of course, through this, I thought about my experience, and I really enjoy working with startups. So the first book I wrote is specifically for people with an idea, or people that have very recently started a business, or maybe not even recently, but they're just winging it, and the book's called From Idea to Reality, Your Complete Startup Handbook. And it really is just a guideline. I try to write it really easily in point format, with different things people need to be aware of, things they need to be doing, the whole process on how to take your idea and turn it into a business. And that's the first one. The second one I'm very excited about. I haven't published yet, but it is coming. It's called Living Your Best Life, a guide to being organized, efficient, and effective in your professional life, because that's what I'm passionate about, is being effective and efficient and just getting things done. So that's what that one's about.
Great. And what would you say makes you unique in the industry? I know it's a relatively like new idea that this VA is, but I think it's really an essential thing for small business. I know Cory can actually say more. I used to have a full-time assistant, which I still miss, and soon I'll hire her back if she's available, but makes all the difference. Um, if you don't mind just telling us kind of what makes you unique and what you've seen in this industry over the past 5 or 10 years in terms of the essential nature of it.
Yeah, I think my experience is what makes me different, because I know what a business owner worries about. You know, I know what they need, and I know how to prioritize our tasks based on that. And business owners should really be focusing on those income producing activities, you know, not admin. And I have a saying, I say it most of the time when I'm networking, is that a business owner should not be spending their precious time on $25 or $30 an hour tasks. Their time is more valuable than that. They should be strategizing and networking and working on that high level business stuff, you know, and leave the admin to delegate the admin, leave it to the people that can really get it done efficiently and focus on the better things.
Yeah, well put. And I know we talked a lot about B&I before, but if you don't mind just telling us how B&I works to help your business. And sounds like you built a lot of your business in B&I in large part.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful to B&I. I became a member in South Africa. And of course, I network globally because we can, you know. But I'm so grateful for B&I. It's not only the referrals that I've received, and I have received many, many referrals and introductions, but more for me, the amazing people that I get to meet in B&I and visitors, you know, so members and people that visit B&I. And I've actually just recently started collaborating with 2 members in my chapter, and we're planning this new venture, you know, and what that's reminded me is that if you're open to opportunities, they will present themselves. Your mind just has to be open to that. And in B&I, if you work the system and you're visible and you're credible, it's not only referrals that you gain, you join for the referrals, you know, but man, opportunities that come your way are just endless. So B&I is in my blood. I will be there forever. I love the system. I love the networking, and I love the structure of it too. That's very important to me. Yeah.
Great. Well, I might have a wild card question for you, but I'm going to hold off for now. We do want to hear about your ideal client. I'm going to turn it over to Cory.
Yeah. So what is your why? Speaking from the incentive way of doing
Oh,
it.
yes. Why I do what I do. Well, you know, when I was a little kid, I lived with my mom and my sister, and my mom she got no support. So life wasn't always easy, you know. She did everything on her own. And the thing I remembered the most is how hard she worked. I think she wanted us to have a good life, you know. She wanted us to grow up feeling like we were supported and we had everything we needed. And so she sacrificed a lot for us. And what I realized as a little girl was that when I do the tiniest chore or the tiniest deed to help her, her gratitude and her sense of relief and the pride that she showed just by me doing something small for her, that made me feel really good. And so I would do more of it. And it actually shaped who I am today. You know, what I realized from that very young age is that every little thing I could do to help her eased her. And the more I took off her plate, the better her life was. So today, my goal is to help busy business owners by unburdening them with all that stuff, you know, the things they hate doing, or maybe the things they just can't get to, so that they can take their time and spend it doing on things that they love, or spend it with their families, or just doing whatever it is that they want to do. And I mentioned briefly, I have a team, and I know that when myself and my team start working with someone, it's like a boulder coming off their back, you know, just like I saw with my mom. I saw with my own 2 eyes. And now that's what I do every single day for people.
Awesome. And so who would you say then is an ideal client for you?
I find that I am just attracting because of, many things, but mainly women business owners that either have two jobs or they just have too much to do and not enough in their day. Some are new mothers, they're juggling parenthood with their small business, or others might just be someone, that has too little time, or like I said, one or two jobs, and they're running out of time. Or sometimes it's actually just a person that knows that they want systems, and automation and technology in their business, but they have no idea where to start and no idea how to set it up. They just want someone to come and handle that for them. That seems to be my favorite kind of client.
Great. And I had my wild card question was about what kind of tasks should people look for? Say it's somebody who's never used a VA before. What are the kinds of things that they should look at that they can kind of offload to you?
That's a great question, because when I'm speaking to people, or prospects, at least when I'm having a call with a prospect, I always say to them, especially if they're not ready, all you need to do is think about the things that you hate doing. So during the course of a day, every time you have to do something and you go, oh, I got to do that, write that down, okay? Because if you hate doing it, you should be delegating it, that you're the business owner. So those kind of tasks. But to give you an example, it can be calls, calling customers for a number of reasons, just to check in or to ask for a review or to follow up on an outstanding invoice. There can be a number of reasons. So outgoing calls, cold calls, inbound calls, any kind of calls. Okay, that's one thing we can do. Another thing a virtual admin or virtual assistant can do for you is naturally typing, sending estimates, following up on outstanding estimates, data capturing, email management. Often we get email inboxes and we just got to man it and forward those emails and attend to the important ones, and unsubscribe from the spam, that kind of a thing. Calendar management is a big one too. We can book appointments for people. We can book travel. And then my favorite, the thing that I enjoy doing the most, is setting up automations and funnels and marketing systems, just so a business can kind of run in the background, have things automated and happening, and then it takes time off the business owner's plate so they can focus on other things.
Yeah, one of my favorite business books of all time, you probably heard of it. It kind of set a new standard, is a 4-hour work week.
Yes. Yes.
We talked about that on this show, I think a long time ago, and it's if folks haven't seen it, but what you bring really is an expertise in how to not only complete these tasks, but do them way better and more efficiently. So people are gaining just a kind of a transformation in their business, especially if they have, if half their time is spent on those tasks and they can ship it out to you for, and it gets done better. Yeah. So.
Exactly. Yeah, you get it. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't have any really good referrals in this area right now. I know Cory has a VA that he uses. I was going to ask just a question to him about what a VA has done for you, Cory, you and Gail, in your business, if that's not proprietary, so to speak.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
How a VA has helped your business.
Oh yeah.
What kind of things you've had them do for you?
I got a bird flying around being crazy today.
I'm just trying to give the listeners some.
Yeah, no, we have a full-time VA. She's in the Philippines. So my wife is Filipino, and so she likes, to go there. And there's many, different ways to do it. You can hire them in the US. I find that, if you go out of the country, you tend to get people who they need to be trained a little more. They aren't necessarily naturally, a lot of the VAs that you hire in the US or in, more of the Western countries usually are going to be more creative. They can usually take a task and make it their own. They're good project managers. When you hire into, some countries like the Philippines or India or whatever, generally speaking, they're going to be a little more directed. You've got to train them to do things, and they're going to kind of stick on those rails and do it that way. And so it kind of just depends on what you need in your business. If you need somebody to, do frequent postings on social media, every day or every week, Sometimes you can go out of the country. If you need somebody to actually kind of figure out some of that content and edit it for you and all that, probably want to hire in there. And I think Claudia could probably answer to a lot of that. But our experience with VAs is it's really helpful to just delegate the stuff out. That's probably the hardest part for business owners is delegation, because they want to be in control.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And I know the amount of stuff you guys do, you couldn't do it without your VA. Claudia, are there certain lines of business that you would kind of specialize in helping? For example, insurance, or, it sounds like clerical stuff. Anybody that has like processes that are kind of a big part, whereas, for example, a lot of what I do is a little bit disjointed and you're not going to have a VA out there shooting. But I was thinking one thing would be to like clip video clips out of like podcasts or things, but so I was just going to ask you if there's certain businesses or people that you look for, or that likely have a big chunk of that business that would be useful for you to do instead.
Yeah, I find that I have quite a broad range of industries that I help, because admin is generally admin, but you're right, there are different tasks that come with different industries. And I work a lot with coaches interested in just, setting up their systems. I actually have in the property services industry, I have a few realtors, I have interior designer, because that's very project management based, and then I have healthcare, psychiatrists, I have a whole broad range. So, and actually, I think I introduced you, Dave, already to another podcaster that I work with in Florida. And for her also, again, it's a little bit of editing, graphics and automations and so forth. So yeah,
thanks for all those introductions.
Yeah,
We're going to
welcome.
put them on for next season. So if I haven't reached out to them, let them know that we're kind of waiting for spots to open up. But I appreciate all those introductions.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And very good. Cory, do you have any other follow-up or kind of wild card questions for her? Otherwise, I think we can end a bit early here.
Yeah, actually, I would ask you what would be your technique for getting somebody to delegate to a VA? So they hire a VA, they actually said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put them to work. And what would you say to them? What was your key piece of advice to just like, go ahead and get started and actually use that person that you're now paying? Because oftentimes they kind of sit on it and they don't do it.
My first little bit of advice, because it can be hard sometimes to let go, you don't know if it's going to be done right. And there needs to be a certain level of trust. And often trust is built by building a relationship and meeting a person. Often you don't meet your virtual assistant face to face, so I understand all of that. And I would say my advice would be, if you're nervous and you're really struggling with this, start off with an hour, not even an hour a week, just 1 hour. Give them something small, simple, and also a person might have different skills. So you might want to test a few different things to see where you feel most comfortable with and the speed of work and the accuracy and so forth. But just start with 1 hour, and then you can gradually increase that to an hour a week, and then hopefully 2 hours a week. And then hopefully you start getting the trust level built up, and then you can start saying, right, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. And when you're there, you are going to have so much time on your hands to do other stuff, because that person is taking those tasks away from you and doing it properly, and by then there's trust too. So that's, I think, my best piece of advice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's when you can move up to Tahoe or somewhere like where I was living when I had a whole slate of assistants. Well, beautiful. I think we're going to end it there, and thank you for coming on. We'll have to do a one-to-one at some point, because I am interested in being a referral source for you and keeping in touch, and we'll have you back on at some point too.
Thank you. It was so great, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity as well.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on Quantum Leap, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. Thank you, David.
Thank you.